Hey, Slaycation Squad. Welcome back to the channel where every tale is a spine-chilling journey into the unknown. I'm your host from the Abyss. And tonight, we're diving deep into the shadows of horror. But before we embark on this hair-raising adventure, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss a scream. Seriously, you won't want to miss what we have in store for you tonight. The heavy air hung with a sense of foreboding as Father Andrew stepped off the plane and set foot once again in the familiar streets of Pittsburgh. The weight of what he had discovered in Belo Quinto pressed upon his shoulders, threatening to crush his resolve. But he couldn't falter now. He had come too far and unearthed too much to let doubt consume him. As he made his way through the bustling airport, Father Andrew couldn't help but feel like a lone figure in a sea of oblivious faces. How could they go about their daily lives, ignorant of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface? How could they not see the signs of possession and malevolence that had gripped Frankie's soul? Father Dario's voice echoed in his mind, the doubt and resistance like a toxin infecting his every thought. But Father Andrew couldn't let his fellow priest's skepticism sway him. He had witnessed the wounds, the supernatural occurrences that defied any logical explanation. He had heard the whispers of the hidden gospel, a forbidden knowledge that held the key to unraveling the mysteries that plagued Frankie Page. Stepping out into the chilly Pittsburgh air, Father Andrew hailed a taxi and directed the driver to Frankie's apartment. The city's steel-gray buildings loomed overhead, casting long shadows that danced in the fading daylight. Thoughts raced through his mind, each one an insistent voice, urging him to push forward, to confront the malevolent spirit and set Frankie free. The taxi pulled up to the front of the apartment complex, its worn facade a stark reminder of Frankie's troubled past. Father Andrew took a deep breath, steadying himself for what lay ahead. He climbed the steps to Frankie's apartment, his footsteps echoing in the empty hallway. Knocking gently on the door, Father Andrew could hear the muffled sound of movement from inside. The door swung open slowly, revealing a tired and anxious Frankie standing in the threshold. A flicker of recognition crossed her face, mingled with a flicker of fear. "Father Andrew," she said, her voice tinged with both relief and trepidation. "I didn't expect to see you again so soon. It is not by chance that we meet again, Frankie," Father Andrew replied, his voice filled with conviction. "I have returned to help you, to confront the darkness that has gripped you." Frankie's eyes widened, searching his face for reassurance. "Father, I don't know if there's any hope left. The wounds, the possession, it's consuming me." Father Andrew stepped into her apartment, a wave of unease washing over him. The room was draped in shadows, the air heavy with an otherworldly presence. He moved closer to Frankie, studying the remnants of stigmata wounds etched into her delicate skin. The wounds had multiplied, leaving a trail of suffering in their wake. "We cannot let despair consume us, Frankie," Father Andrew said, his voice filled with a quiet determination. I have discovered the truth, the hidden gospel that holds the key to understanding what has befallen you. But to defeat this malevolent spirit, we must unite our faith and face it head-on. Frankie's eyes flickered with a mixture of fear and hope. She had spent so long in the grip of doubt, locked within the confines of her skepticism. Could she find the strength to believe? To put her trust in a power greater than herself? Together, Frankie and Father Andrew formed a fragile alliance, their shared purpose driving them forward. The apartment became a battleground, its walls reverberating with the struggle between light and darkness. Father Andrew called upon his faith, his knowledge of exorcisms, and the power of prayer. As the battle unfolded, Frankie's possession became more pronounced, the malevolent spirit manifesting supernatural powers that tore at the fabric of reality. But Father Andrew stood firm, his unwavering faith a shield against the onslaught. "Leave this vessel," he commanded, forming the ancient Latin words with certainty. "Release her from your grip, spirit of darkness." For a moment, the room trembled, the air crackling with a palpable tension. Then, with a cry of unearthly anguish, the malevolent spirit was expelled from Frankie's body, vanishing into the ethereal plane from whence it came. Father Andrew collapsed to his knees, his body weary but his spirit soaring with victory. Frankie, now freed from the clutches of possession, sank to the ground beside him. Tears streamed down her face, mingling with the sweat of the battle that had just taken place. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice filled with a mix of gratitude and wonder. "You saved me, Father Andrew." He reached out, placing a hand on her shoulder, offering comfort and solace. "It was not I alone who saved you, Frankie. It was the power of faith and the relentless pursuit of the truth. We are but vessels, instruments in a grander design." As the dust settled and the room regained a sense of tranquility, Father Andrew knew that their journey was far from over. The battle against darkness would continue in different forms, in different hearts and minds. But for now, they had achieved a hard-fought victory, and a glimmer of hope shone through the darkness that had consumed them both. Together, Frankie Page and Father Andrew Kiernan had emerged stronger, their beliefs forever changed, their souls forever united in a shared purpose. As they moved forward, guided by their newfound faith, they sought to heal the wounds of doubt and uncover the hidden truths that lay shrouded in the depths of the human spirit. The air crackled with tension as Father Andrew stood before Frankie, his heart heavy with determination. The room was shrouded in darkness, save for the flickering of candlelight casting eerie shadows upon the cracked walls. Frankie's eyes glowed with an otherworldly brilliance, her voice distorted as she spoke in a voice not her own. "You dare challenge me, mortal?" the malevolent spirit taunted, its voice a deep, guttural growl that sent shivers down Father Andrew's spine. "I have existed for centuries, lurking in the shadows, and now I shall claim this vessel as my own." Father Andrew squared his shoulders, his hands trembling slightly as he clutched his crucifix. He knew that this would be the most perilous battle he had ever faced. A clash of faith and darkness that would determine the fate of Frankie's soul. With every fiber of his being, he called upon the strength of his faith, drawing upon the centuries of Catholic ritual and doctrine that had guided his life. "By the power vested in me by the Holy Mother Church, I command you, Spirit of Father Alameda, to leave this woman and return to the darkness from whence you came." Father Andrew's voice boomed through the room, echoing off the walls with an undeniable authority. Frankie's body convulsed with a violent energy, her limbs contorting unnaturally as the spirit fought against Father Andrew's command. She writhed on the floor, emitting an otherworldly moan that chilled Father Andrew's soul. But he refused to falter. He had witnessed the power of the Spirit, its ability to manipulate and corrupt. Yet, he held firm to his belief in the transformative and redemptive power of faith. "I will not let you consume her, Alameda!" Father Andrew cried, his voice tinged with both desperation and defiance. "She is not a vessel for your darkness, but a soul seeking light." The room shook with a supernatural force, the walls reverberating with an almost tangible energy. Father Andrew felt the weight of the entire Catholic Church bearing down on him in that moment. The weight of centuries of tradition and belief. He knew that the outcome of this battle would not only determine Frankie's fate, but would ripple throughout the foundations of the church itself. With renewed vigor, Father Andrew raised his crucifix high above his head, golden light radiating from its form. He began to recite prayers and invocations with an unwavering conviction, his words carrying the weight of centuries of exorcistic rituals. The words seemed to cut through the darkness, piercing the malevolent spirit's hold on Frankie. Her body jerked violently, contorted by the battle raging within her. All at once, a blinding light burst forth from Frankie's body, illuminating the room with a fierce brilliance. The malevolent spirit shrieked in agony, its form writhing in an ethereal agony. Father Andrew's heart soared with hope as he watched the spirit weaken, his faith fueling his determination to save Frankie. In one final surge of divine power, the malevolent spirit was expelled from Frankie's body, dissipating into the air like smoke. Frankie lay motionless on the floor, her breathing shallow and her skin pale. Father Andrew rushed to her side, cradling her unconscious form in his arms. Relief washed over him as he felt the familiar warmth of life seep back into her body. As Frankie gradually regained consciousness, her eyes fluttered open, now free from the ethereal glow that had consumed them before. She looked up at Father Andrew, a mix of gratitude and wonder radiating from her gaze. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice filled with a depth of emotion. "I never thought I could find such faith within myself. You saved me." Father Andrew smiled, his heart filled with a profound sense of accomplishment. "It was your strength and your willingness to believe that ultimately banished the darkness, Frankie." Don't ever underestimate the power that lies within you. And in that moment, Father Andrew knew that their journey was not over. That the battle against darkness was a lifelong pursuit. But as he looked into Frankie's eyes, he saw a glimmer of hope and a newfound faith. Together, they would face whatever lay ahead, armed with the knowledge that love, faith, and unwavering belief had the power to overcome even the darkest of forces.